The dead never rest in video games, and we're not just talking about zombies. There have been a number of heroes throughout the years that have returned, and even if they're not always stronger, any who oppose them quickly wish they didn't. Let's take a look at 15 such heroes that fall into this category. Story spoilers lie within, but we've avoided major ones for the most part. Ghost of Tsushima. The initial skirmish between the samurai clans and the Mongol army doesn't really go well, with pretty much everyone killed, save for Jin's uncle Lord Shimura. Jin himself would have been a goner if not for Yuna. And while he doesn't necessarily wallop Khotun Khan in their first encounter, it does mark the beginning of his terrifying reign as the Ghost. Prototype. The protagonist, Alex Mercer, starts the game on the wrong side of a morgue's table. On the bright side, he's also incredibly strong and possesses unique powers, able to consume people and absorb their memories. From there, Alex investigates the mysterious Blacklight virus, facing off against the military and Black Watch while also dealing with infected humans. By dealing with, we mean dive bombing on them from skyscrapers and kicking helicopters out of midair. Destiny. Of the many deaths leading to resurrections, the playable character in Destiny is perhaps the most mysterious. One day, a ghost shows up in the Cosmodrome on Earth and resurrects them. Voila, a guardian is born, wielding the power of the light in service of the traveler. Who they were before this and what they were doing remains a mystery. But there are bounties to grind and loot to earn, so it doesn't really matter. Detroit Become Human. Avoiding the whole discussion about androids being alive or not, Marcus certainly has the worst of it in Detroit Become Human. His peaceful life is shattered after an altercation with Carl's son, and he winds up in a junkyard after being shot by the police. He desperately makes his way through the hellish landscape, taking other parts from other androids, some still alive, to repair himself. Of course, Marcus eventually finds Jericho, and the journey to rebel against the humans, either peacefully or violently, begins. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. There's a reason why it's called the Shrine of Resurrection. Events from a century before left Link at death's door, and it's the only thing that could save him. Though he's recovered, he must embark on a journey to free the divine beasts, wield the Master Sword, and eventually defeat Calamity Ganon. Or he could make a beeline directly to Hyrule Castle with a broom and get blown up by all the Guardians patrolling. That's also an option. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. You'd think that after the events of Ground Zeroes, Snake would have some time to rest. Alas, he awakens in a hospital in Cyprus with numerous injuries and a shrapnel horn of sorts before fending for his life against assassins like Quiet, the Third Child, and the Man on Fire. After much chaos, Snake finally rendezvous with Revolver Ocelot, takes on the Venom Snake moniker, and plots his revenge against Cypher. Okami. 100 years before the game's events, the wolf Shirano and warrior Nagi fought against Orochi, eventually sealing it away for good. Of course, the darkness soon reared its head again, in no small part thanks to Susanoo, Nagi's descendant, and Amaterasu is summoned forth to help, serving as the reincarnation of Shirano. There are more sinister things afoot than just Orochi, but Amaterasu, armed with her celestial brush, is on the case. Otagi: Myth of Demons. Reiko, the protagonist of Otagi: Myth of Demons, has quite the bad day. Refusing to kill his father, he flees Kyoto with his family's sword. Unfortunately, the demon world suddenly collides with the human realm due to the seal on it being broken, and he dies in the process. Reiko gets a second chance at life though, and with a new body, he sets out to slay demons and restore order. Shin Megami Tensei 4: Apocalypse. As the name implies, the story takes place in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo with humans struggle to survive. Such is the struggle that the player character, Nanashi, goes on supply runs and is subsequently murdered by demons. It isn't until Dagda, a demon, offers to revive him, but of course, terms and conditions apply. It only gets more complicated from there, as Nanashi can ultimately decide who to side with in the grand scheme of things. The World Ends With You. The premise of The World Ends With You is a grisly one, as teenagers are stuck in a purgatory-esque version of Shibuya and forced to play the Reaper's game. Nico is one such person, and he must win within 7 days in order to be resurrected. Of course, it's not quite that simple, and Nico soon comes across a variety of different partners, from the peppy Shiki to the enigmatic Joshua, while battling Noise and other Reapers to prevent being erased. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 started off with a bang when the Normandy was ambushed by the Collectors and obliterated. Shepard dies in the attack, rather painfully at that, but is subsequently restored by Cerberus. Despite how shady the setup seems, he eventually assembles a new team to lead an assault on the Collector base. It's a suicide mission, but ended up more of a reckoning than anything else. Speaking of which, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. To stop Tuatha de Danann of the Winterfell advance, the Fateless One is revived in the Well of Souls by Fomorius Hughes of the Gnomes. The main power of the Fateless One is being unaffected by fate, allowing them to act freely while also changing the fates of those around them. Things quickly become more complicated as their past is revealed though. Jade Empire. Set in a fictional kingdom based on both history and mythology, BioWare's Jade Empire has a fairly hefty number of twists and turns. Contrary to expectation, the player character, known as the Spirit Monk, dies several hours into the story rather than the start. Thankfully, the Water Dragon who guides the protagonist helps to revive them. There's a lot more going on with the undead, assassins, and whatnot, but all the more reason to play the game and experience it for yourself. Malicious. The plot of Malicious sees either Valeria or Erica being revived at the hands of the Elders to ultimately defeat their mother, Queen Ashleigh. However, the entire ordeal started thanks to their father, King Eldrake, whom Ashleigh waged war on alongside Valeria and Erica. When the tables were turned, the two siblings sacrificed themselves and became weapons for their mother to wield. Unfortunately, this constant campaign of warring and the ever-present threat of the Malicious would turn her into a Mad Queen, which necessitated the revival of her children to stop her. Mega Man Zero. Zero is quite the badass in the Mega Man X series to the extent of being destroyed and rebuilt several times throughout. In Mega Man Zero, however, he lays deactivated for more than 100 years in an abandoned laboratory. Reploids are being persecuted left and right, and far more technologically advanced adversaries await. But that doesn't stop Zero from schooling them and protecting innocence once more. And that wraps it up. If you like what we are doing, please consider subscribing to our channel, and don't forget to switch on the bell notification icon. That way you will never miss out on any of our videos.